My photographic practice is informed by critical theories of ecological economics. I'm looking at ecosystems and exploring all the various types of interactions that humans have with ecosystems, thereby illustrating different types of so-called ecosystem services in photographic form. For example, here we have an illustration of the carbon sequestration function of ecosystems. The trees and the oceans are absorbing CO2 emissions and generating oxygen that we breathe. Other images illustrate direct uses of ecosystems. The fruit and vegetables that we collect and use as food for our nutrition and enjoyment. Certain materials that we get from ecosystems are used as fibers. For example, in this case, the beautifully shaped rope that is used on boats in the Mediterranean has been produced using natural materials. Ecosystems are also providing aesthetic inspiration for artists and writers, and views like this have been a source of constant inspiration for generations of cultural figures visiting the western coast of Italy. A multiple use ecosystem can merge several types of functions all at the same time, including carbon sequestration, including the visual and aesthetic pleasures, and recreational potential as well. Aesthetically, several views, such as this one, the very early morning landscape of the Vesuvius volcano, which has caused the destruction of the ancient city of Pompeii, has also been the source of inspiration for generations of artists and musicians, including Mozart and various painters that interpreted and reinterpreted the great tragedy that happened in this ancient city in the 1st century AD. Ecosystems could be the source of inspiration for very abstract works. For example, this surface of the Mediterranean water is creating a very interesting pattern which could be interpreted as an abstract image. At the same time, traveling using natural forces, in this particular instance, that of wind energy, is by far the most environmentally friendly way of transporting ourselves from A to B. And as in this image, the principle is illustrated very well. Ecosystems could provide a source of inspiration, but also a point of attraction for tourism. And in the case of these iconic rocks near the island of Capri in Italy, such ecosystems bring joy and delight to many, many, many visitors every year. Ecosystems, at the same time, could be the sources of um, the feeling of sublime, first mentioned by the British philosopher Burke and later used and transformed in the visual arts of 18th and 19th century. In this particular case, the very intense lightning crisscrossing the night skies in the southern Italy are clearly creating a very, very unusual cloudscape that could be enjoyed by the viewers. And then finally, the product of my work has been transformed into a completely new form. A new photographic album has been created, and in front of you you see an example of the first ever volume of this album ever produced. It has been beautifully designed by collaborators from the University of Reading, BA in graphic design, and several images could be seen here representing various types of ecosystem services. The book has become an important way of communicating the multiple values of ecosystems to a broad audience. And this is how the hardcover will look like. The process of working on a book has been full with joy and different creative searches and arguments. And finally, after many deliberations, we have decided on all the important aspects, from the color of the hardcover to the way of debossing the title on the front, to the exact specifications of the dust jacket and positioning of the images on pages, and the specific maps that illustrate where these images were made. I'm sincerely hoping that the forthcoming exhibition at the Oxford University Mathematical Institute that will happen in November 2018 will be a great opportunity to interact with my audience and to be able to speak more about the complexity of ecosystems and how we could possibly understand multiple values involved in our interactions with them. Thanks very much.